I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Need adoption of the agenda. Need a motion by Romano, supported by Gillette. Please vote to approve the agenda. Thank you. The agenda has been approved. A motion to approve the minutes from October 3rd. Need a motion. Motion by Commissioner Myjack, supported by Commissioner Lucido. Please vote. Minutes are approved. Public participation. You have 5 minutes to speak on any subject that's on the agenda. You have up to 5 minutes to speak. Anyone from public participation wish to be heard? Anyone from the public? No one from the public. Will close public participation. Item 6 is appointment interview, Substance Abuse Disorder Oversight Board. We have one vacancy for a 3-year term. We have they're not in attendance. We have the information in your package. We'll hold that and the board will be voted on the next full board meeting. So we'll close item 6. Item 7 is budget review, Board of Commissioners budget. So it's on page C. Smith is who's gonna, we have any Patty?
I can't believe I forgot that. Yeah, I memorize it. Does anyone have any questions regarding the sheets that are in your packet? While you're looking, I'll just remind you that we have a lot of great programs going on here in our board office. We have grown in our outreach every year for the past few years. We have our long-standing Casual Day program. It's brought in over $702,000. We have expanded our volunteer appreciation, most notably recently, by honoring a veteran. We have our highly successful Yoga at the Hill every summer, and we're looking at potentially adding another active event. Our Green Schools program continues to grow, which is exciting, and we now are partnering with our regional Green Schools programs from Wayne and Oakland County, and the zoo has agreed to host a free giant celebration on Earth Day this year, or in 2020. So again, we're growing, we're changing, we're adapting to our population and the times, and which is really exciting. Our Older Adult Advisory Committee has been really active, and they have been hearing a lot of presentations and been able to take information that seniors are interested in or should be interested in if they haven't expressed that interest. And I encourage you to reach out and talk to yours. We will be needing to reappoint them for another term. So I will review the applications or the need for applications with each of you. Just as a reminder, each of you has a representative from your district who serves in your place on our committee and gives us feedback. They help us with events. They help us distribute stuff. So it's been a really positive addition to our programs. And are there any questions regarding our budget?
Commissioner Romano.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chief of Staff, Ms. Dibb. I'm looking at page 15, and I'm looking under Internal Services. I'm looking at the years 2018, 2019, and then a big jump to somewhere in 2019 from 32,572 to 408,872.
I gotta throw this one to him.
That's the infamous indirect cost charges that we keep talking about. You'll see that in every single department, Commissioner, in the general
What are
fund.
the indirect costs?
So those are chargebacks that come from what we refer to as the central service department. So It's
No gobbledygook now. Give me,
no
all right.
gobbledygook. So it's charges from my office, purchasing, the print shop, treasurer, corporation counsel, executive's office, human resources, for example. So we allocate the cost of those central service departments to now all departments. Before it was just to grant funds. Now we're allocating it across all departments, even in the general fund, to reflect the true cost of operating specific departments within the county. So those charges come back to my office now, because my office is getting a charge back from HR, corporation counsel,
Okay, let's
exec's office.
start with corporation counsel. Our distinguished corporation counsels here in the audience. So he's coming in here for whatever reason it is, and he's in front of the board. So the amount of time he's spending here, the dollar spent for him to be here, is being charged to us, but it's going indirectly back to you so that you can figure out how much money we actually spent having him here? Is that what you're saying?
We're spreading the cost of corporation counsel, for example, to all the departments to reflect the cost of providing in-house legal services to all the various departments. And it's spread, I think that one's spread on percentage of payroll by department.
So-
Each of those departments' costs are spread on a different allocation statistic,
How many departments do we have?
30 or 35.
Okay, 30, 35. So each department is paying this amount of money?
All depends on the size of the department and what the allocation statistic is.
Well, we're one of the smaller ones, I would think. Would you agree? And if we're paying 408, what are the other departments paying?
Oh, could be into the millions. I mean, you have a schedule of the breakdown by department
it.
and by service. You'll see that consistently. Yeah.
Go ahead.
You'll see that consistently, Commissioner, across all departments. You'll see it tomorrow when we're here talking about my budget and HR and corporation counsel. You'll see it, big spikes in 19. That was something we haven't done for a long time. We think it's just more reflective of the cost of county government.
That has long been the source, the biggest budget question year after year, all the time I've been here, is the indirect budget cost. It's the big mystery, and
Right.
you explain it all the time, and it needs explanation because it's not
And we
easy to
have that,
understand.
we have those costs. Those costs are calculated by an independent outside firm we pay every year. And it's certified by the state and the federal government as allowable cost. So it's, my office isn't calculating the rate or anything like that.
There's no free lunch.
No. It's independently calculated.
Thank you, Chair. Steve, don't run too far. Since this is the fifth time I've heard the question on internal services and the fifth time you've answered it, you have a chart in here demonstrating how they're distributed from department to department. What you don't have in here, at least I can't find it, is a definition of what internal services is.
Okay.
So somehow, could you put that together and distribute it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Patty, to you. Thank you. This is a cost-neutral budget, as I see it. Matter of fact, it's a little bit decreased, so congratulations to you on our budget.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
We're pretty village.
I'm going to say
Vigilant.
that to everybody that comes to that microphone with a cost-neutral budget. And
Okay.
so far, I've tried to do that, so thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, two things. When I was looking at the indirect, first of all, I completely understand it because some departments come before us and say, we've generated so much revenue for you and we've made money for the county, and other departments can't generate revenue because they don't bill and collect money. But Steve, my question is, and I don't have my budget in front of me, I apologize for this. So as you're redirecting these costs, so you're showing a cost for, like the board, as you say, for these other departments. Do the costs in your departments then drop because you're shifting that cost to our departments? Or
No, they do not. So the offsetting entry to the charge to the departments is a revenue item in the general fund in the non-departmental department.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So we don't lower.
It's that non-departmental
Yeah,
department
'cause in
sheet.
theory,
That's what
the
I,
cost for my department would go to basically zero
okay.
because we're allocating everything out. So
Okay.
we don't do that. We just.
It's on that one
It's not a
page.
revenue,
It's
yeah.
on that one page. Okay, and then, this isn't for Patty. This is maybe controversial, but I'm bringing it up now because we're in budget. As we've been told that Patty was red circled, I used the term redlined, I guess incorrectly. And I look at our department and I look at the different jobs involved in our department, and I don't believe that hers is, I believe that Patty does the majority of things that you would expect the person who's in charge to do. And because of that, I believe that our chair seat, since we're going into a new term and we'll be voting before next year on everybody's salaries, I believe that the chair seat is overcompensated. I believe that when we took it from 65 to 90, and the salary survey that we did came in when we were at 65,000 for the chair seat, that every other elected position in Macomb County was underpaid, but that the board chair was overpaid at 65. I don't think the board chair's overpaid at 65 because of the way we operate, but I do think it's overpaid at 90, and I would be interested in taking it down to something like 75. Just wanted to throw that out there. We're in budget. I don't know if we take it out in budget or if I make that attempt at a vote before we vote on the salaries. Thank you.
Yeah, is it possible for me to expand on that a little bit? I can give you some more information. I'm not
I'm trying to put you in the middle of it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
go
no,
ahead.
no, and I'm not advocating for myself, but it is my job to advocate for the staff. And I think you all know that we have, really great team and good staff. They're very, very team-oriented, and everybody pitches in. And we have so many facets to each of our jobs that can't be, recorded. I mean, we'll do anything that we need to do to support all of you and your legislative priorities. I think you know that. We got a small meeting with Andrew McKinnon, our HR director, back in May or April, where he explained that we were going to have some title changes, but it's not too much of a big deal, and we were going to have some salary range, writings or corrections. We didn't really see the full effect because we didn't get all the information. All we got was ours. So I just have to say I did respond to Andy about what was going on with the board chair's approval. And it's unbalanced with the rest of the county, I feel. Crystal's position, my position, although none of us would be here at all if we cared about money, so that is one thing. So, but I really fear for when you guys have to attract additional talent. Mike handles everything to do with this system, as you know, and sorry, he is the help desk. We don't go through IT at all for our system. Basically they pay for the maintenance contract with all the others. But in no way, shape, or form do they handle any question, any training, any, manual or anything. That has all been created by our office, and actually when Mike came on, he actually immersed himself into that program. We didn't know anything about it. We practiced with it for 6 months and then had you guys jump in with us. Sorry, are you embarrassed? And Crystal is pretty much the next best thing to CIS. She's great at tracking things down And, you know, it's difficult for me to look at the fact that she's redlined when she has a number of years, or could have a number of years here. And as far as my position, I don't think you're going to get somebody in here when they say you have 13 bosses, but one that's weighted a little more, and you're going to go to all the meetings at the, you know, at the county, but you're basically an office manager, because that's kind of what that salary is. So I'm just speaking for the future, not for myself in particular. We were told in the session over here that 53 to 55, was it, % of the positions were actually compared to other like positions. These 3 positions have no other comparative here. There's no department here that has 13 bosses. Sorry.
No,
So-
and in Oakland County, their staff is like 20, 30 people or something, and it's really a large staff.
Right.
And so comparing an individual in their department to individuals in our department, when they've got so many of them, incidentally, I think their chair doesn't make a lot more than the other county commissioners, but they've got staff members that make quite a bit more.
Yeah, and the other, we did the elected officials compensation study, and it just drives me a little bit crazy. They compared a part-time board chairs with a full-time board chair. So that wasn't taken into consideration, you know, when it was analyzed here, because our board chair is expected to be on call 24/7. And our current board chair actually is, he'll tell you, I annoy him all the time. Weekends, meal times, you know, whatever, holidays.
So, and to finalize that out, I mean, we've got positions that are union that were constrained by the union negotiations and the union contracts on those, and we've got some at-will positions. So I don't necessarily feel like I need to look to take money out of the budget at this time, given what's happened in that situation. But I just wanted to put it out there because I do, at least with regard to Patty's position, I do view her as the one that has most of the conversations with us and does most of the scheduling and does most of the coordinating with staff and everything like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith, Chairman Smith.
Thank you. So I agree with most everything you said. So I do, you can't pay, actually, you sit in this chair for a while and I'd say that you're going the wrong way with that salary, but that's not why I or anybody else takes this job, just like Patty said in her job. But what I really agree with you on is these 3 especially, and I know you're singling out Patty, but what they do, the things that they have to deal with on a regular basis, and I'll take Crystal, you've already kind of talked about Patty, and Patty's talked about Mike, but, you know, I mean, basically the financial side of putting this together, having as little information as we are allowed, it's amazing. We, you know, and, you know, granted, Steve will answer questions when we're up here, but the formatting of all of this stuff, I mean, it's amazing. Crystal's working like all day, all night, all the time, getting things together. Anytime I ask for anything, it's already been done because she's already kind of seen it. So I agree with you. I don't think that their positions were really looked at with any favor. And there's nothing really that compares with what you said, having 13 bosses, because all of them have 13 bosses, right? Everybody walks in and just says, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? No one really is in that same situation. So I will agree with you on that. And I don't think anyone's taking this board chair position for 90 or 75 or 150 just because of the money. So, all right, maybe 150. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Romano.
On the second round. I just want to again state, and I think each one of us, and I'll put money on this, and I'm a gambler, each one of us has called either Patty or one of the staff members, and if the one isn't there, the other one will help us out, because I know I'm the biggest pain in the butt there is, because I'm calling all the time. But I just want to say that even as commissioners, you know, the salary that commissioners get, when Mr. Sauger talked me into this, and that's who to blame is why I'm sitting here, he originally told me, Two committees a month. All you have to do is show up for your own committee. Well, we have 2 committees in one day. So, and I'm looking at the salary, but even the salaries for, again, the 3 key people here, actually 4, because we're talking about our chair. Really, for what he's getting paid, I wouldn't do it. I don't want a full-time job every day, putting up with 12 other people in his ear every day about what they do or don't like. And same thing with Patty. She's got to hear from all of us. And honestly, I'm not saying this because I'm trying to blow smoke, but I've never heard, well, we can't do that, or listen, we're a little busy now. It's always, and if we can't get hold of her, she's right back to us. And if I can't get hold of Patty, I'll get hold of Mike, and that's not his job. But he answers for me, and so does Crystal. So I think that compensation study is full of jack. I think we should do better than that. Thank you. I almost said that word.
Thank you, Commissioner Romano. All the employees in our office here are key. They're all key employees. Every one of them. Without one of them, we wouldn't function as well as we do. You know, we got people with a lot of responsibilities who are doing an outstanding job, and that we're so lucky to have all of you. You've done, and we all will, and I realize I rely on you all the time, and I think you guys do more for me than most. So I appreciate it, and I'm willing to look at that again and take a look at that and see, because we can do anything we want. We control the budget, so we can. So let's just. But we've got to do things within reason, and.
Yeah, absolutely. Just as you think going into the future, you know, everybody else has quite a bit more time in front of them here than I do probably. And I'm not, not lifespan, but I'm a little, I might be on the senior side of the staff. So I just don't want to see things fall apart. So I recommend looking at that, because these people are a lot more valuable than what it's showing in the class and comp study.
You do such a good job, it may give some the idea that it's easy. And it's not. It's complicated, it's hard getting information. Shouldn't be as hard as it is getting information. We're working on trying to improve that, but it is. And putting it in a format that we can all understand and giving us various reports, it's very easy. Just make it look more easier than it is. And I know it's not. And I appreciate it, and everyone does. No one said a bad word about anybody on the staff. But, your success sometimes can be a detriment in some ways. So thank you very much. Any other speakers? Commissioner Gillette.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Patty, for putting together the budget and the great work that our staff does. I greatly appreciate it. So I'm going to move a little bit away from talking about specific salaries of individuals and talk broadly about salaries within the county. As Commissioner Haw pointed out, this particular budget, once you take out the special services and so forth, is flat. We are not, providing any pay raise to, some of our key individuals and so forth. Yet we see throughout the budget other departments where, the salary scales have been adjusted as a result of the compensation study that's potentially resulting in very significant pay increases. And I wonder if we as commissioners should reconsider whether we should be giving out those type of significant increases in other departments all at once. Even if these readjustments based on the salary study are warranted, it might not be affordable for us to, in 1 year, decide, all right, we're going to jump people up 20, 15, 30% to make up with a compensation study. And maybe we should visit that as a policy in addressing this budget, that maybe we can't afford to give those raises right away. Maybe they have to be phased in over a period of time and making those readjustments. I agree that it seems unfair that some people are getting nothing as far as an increase, and other people are looking at double-digit increases. And that it's a little hard to take. I can understand from those people who feel they're working just as hard as everybody else in their jobs. That's all I have to say. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else on this subject? Seeing any motion to receive and file this? Moved by Commissioner Romano, supported by Commissioner Kraft. Please vote. Thank you. Item 8 is proclamation honoring Chesterfield Township Library for the 25th anniversary. Anything you wish to add, Commissioner Kraft?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to say that this is the 25th anniversary for the Chesterfield Township Library. They're having a dinner a week from Friday, and they will be announcing some big news for a hopefully more permanent home in the future. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Thank you. Need a motion to approve this. Moved by Kraft, supported by Commissioner Ha. Please vote. All right, that's gone. New business, any new business? Seeing no new business. Oh, the meeting schedule. Meeting schedule's on there is for discussion only?
No, well, to go to full board.
Full board.
If everyone's ready to review a final draft.
Yes, that's right. But, let's see.
I'll move to advance the meeting schedule proposed to full board. All in favor?
Is there support for Leon's? Discussion on this, I've got some discussion. I didn't call the vote yet, so. The run-up to both the primary election and the November election are busy times for us, because guess what? We're all elected officials, and we're all running elections, presumably. I think we're too hard on ourselves with the schedule, having meetings run up close to the election, and also the week following, we're taking these elections down. I think we got to cut ourselves some space and more space on our schedule to give us time to do that. And, I've made some suggestions to staff about the dates that we could push those back, move those dates back. I don't know what else went into the consultation with that, but, yes, Commissioner, Chairman Smith.
So I'll let Crystal and Patty disappear. I wanted them to speak on this. First of all, let's get back to there's 13 commissioners that have different ideas, that you can't always blend together. And we are coming up to an election cycle. However, we also, this year kind of got jammed with getting the budget a month and a half or 2 months later, Crystal, than we normally get it. So, we try our best to jam everything in and then cancel meetings if we don't have anything, or if we've already discussed or we're able to accomplish more early, but we still have to have these things scheduled. I know a bunch of people set in for hunting and election, and I know they're trying to do their best to get around these. But Crystal, you want to speak just a little to what you guys did and where you're at right now?
So the draft you received in your email, we moved up the weeks that were the week before the primary election, so there are no meetings the week before and of the primary election. And then, like Bob just said, it's kind of difficult with the budget reviews in November to take meetings away. We don't have any meetings the week before or the week of the election day in November, but we have to adopt the budget. If we don't get it until later, like we did this past year, then that leads us to November, where we're making the final changes for the budget. So we did the best we could with those 2 weeks, so it's a little better than what we emailed out. So, and then if you have any additional changes, please try to get those to us before full board, then we have a new draft in front of commissioners that day, and you won't have to make the changes at that meeting.
So, excuse me, is this the draft that we have received already, that we made some changes on? Or is this something that you're going to be changing as the new dates come in?
The one in front of you is the most recent draft.
Okay. All right, there's been a motion made.
Commissioner Kleinfeld's up on the list.
Commissioner. Sorry, I didn't.
Thank
sorry.
you.
I'm
Just
looking at the calendar.
a couple things. I'll be honest, I think I told Crystal, I haven't had time to look at it because we're in a heavy election at my house. And I do know, I always go out of town the first week in July, and I know that there are meetings that week, but you guys are accommodating me on so many other things associated with MAC that I'm not going to make an issue out of that. If I have to miss a week's worth of meetings, I have to do that. I will try to be here next Tuesday. There's no way I can be here next Wednesday. We've got hundreds of signs to pick up, and we always get them picked up in one day, and it'll be Wednesday. We don't leave them out any longer than that. So just giving my vice, well, no, there's no meeting. We don't have a meeting that way. I'm just giving you guys a heads up on that.
Does your son appreciate you?
Not enough. Thank you. Thank you. I did want to ask Crystal, is this earlier than we've done it in years past?
I don't think so. Only this year, we don't adopt, when there's an election and there's a new board coming in, you don't adopt it until January when the new board comes in, but we try to do it before the end of the year. I don't remember off the top of
Well,
my
I
head
knew
2
we
years
did it
ago.
before the end of the year, but when we got that notice 2 weeks before the election, I was like, we don't do it at this time.
It's usually October.
Okay. Well, that's because I'm swamped. Thank you.
Once any other speakers on this, has been a motion made and supported, sent to full board. Please vote.
Turn your mic on.
Please vote. Okay, very good, that passes. All right, number 10 is public participation. Anyone here from the public wish to be heard? Please come to the podium. You have 5 minutes to speak. State your name and address for the record. The floor is yours for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Marty Pren. I'm a national elder advocate, and there's a couple of things I want to bring to the board's attention that's going on not only in Macomb County, but Oakland County and several other probate courts. And currently there is a veteran by the name of Fred Smith who was incarcerated on the 17th of October in a court hearing before Judge Sandra Harrison. And it's involving a Florida trust that Michigan and the Macomb County Probate Court doesn't want to accept the fact that they do not have jurisdiction over this trust and have been demanding an accounting of this trust. The gentleman that was arrested is a 73-year-old veteran by the name of Fred Smith. His mother is 92 years old, and she was deemed to be 100% incapacitated, which is absolutely not true. And I don't know that the Board of Commissioners is even aware of the issue of elder and guardianship abuse. But this is clearly a retaliation against this veteran, who happens to be a friend of mine, who is required to have a service dog with him, who has now been separated from this veteran. And the reason why it's a retaliation is because he reported not only Judge Sandra Harrison, but Catherine George and Carl Marlinga. And there are two public administrators who have been involved in his mother's trust, and that is George Heitmanis and a guy named Terrence Gilsonen. And the retaliation is that he reported them to the Attorney General's office, Dana Nessel, at her listening tours. And I've been to 14 of her listening tours and made sure she was aware of this case, because of the fact that it meets all of her requirements for elder and guardianship abuse. This Fred Smith had asked her to intervene, which she had said she would do if it's established that there's fraud and corruption. And I'm going to be in contact with I think the Macomb County has a veterans court that generally prevents veterans from being incarcerated. They then put him, while he was there, into the psychiatric ward, claiming that he was suicidal. And I don't know if the board's even aware of it, but I don't know if it was Thursday or Friday. There was another suicide at the jail and another attempted suicide. So at some point, I think the board needs to be made aware of the fact of what has been going on in the probate court. I am a national elder advocate, but Judge Sandra Harrison has now ordered me to not have any contact with this woman that has asked me to advocate on her behalf, especially since her son is in jail, and that I'm not have any further contact. And again, this is one of the other violations of elder and guardianship abuse that is going on in the Macomb County Court by isolating me from wards that I have worked with. And so again, I wanted to bring this to the board's attention, and would suggest that if you guys have your counsel and you want to have a closed-door session so I could provide you with sensitive information on the different cases that I'm aware of where wards are being financially exploited and medicated, and in some cases they end up dying, and all of their money is being stolen from them by the people, the very people that are supposed to be protecting them. Just one other issue real quick in regards to what Pete Lucido had brought up, and I appreciate the openness that you guys have to it because it is a common sense approach, and it's a nonpartisan issue, as is elder and guardianship abuse. So I don't look at you as Republican or Democrat. I look at you as team members that can help solve these issues. But what wasn't brought up is the fact that there are a number of people that have their vehicles registered in different states so they can avoid paying the higher insurance rates here, and therefore the state does not get the registration fees that they should be getting that would help. And I think I mentioned on break to you, Chairman, that I have a place up in Roscommon County and they have their best roads and there's nothing wrong with them, but because they're getting money, they figure, oh, well, we'll just have to tear them up and then fix them up again. And this is money that's just being wasted. And again, just one other point, walking over here from the courthouse, I don't know if you guys have looked at the condition of the sidewalks there, but the citizens are required to fix their sidewalks in front of their residence. And I don't know who would be in charge of overlooking that, but clearly there are trip hazards and complete sections of cement being torn up or broken that somebody needs to look at. What's that? Sure. But I was very successful. I'm thinking there's a few of you that might have been around when I came in for a resolution that declared a Army sergeant a national hero. And I think there were two ladies that helped me on that resolution. And so I think I'm one of the few people that got, in that time it was a 26-member board, and got everybody agreed to the fact that this was the right thing to do. And so I'm willing to work with you folks, and if you want to contact me, my information's on Facebook, and I could provide it to the chair to provide to the other people. But we have a serious problem in Macomb County with how our elderly people are being mistreated by the very court system that's supposed to protect them. So thank you very much.
Anyone else under public participation? Seeing no one, will close public participation. Need a motion to go into executive session to discuss case C-17 CV 10937. Moved by Commissioner Lucido, supported by Commissioner Duje. All those, please vote yes. All those not involved with the case, please step out for a few minutes. Approve the recommended settlement by our attorney.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Duje, supported by Commissioner Sauger. Please vote. Motion is approved. Need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Commissioner Gillette, supported by Commissioner Duje. All those in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Ah, old school, there you go. Aye, matey. Arr. Thank you very much. Thank you, Commissioner. Have a good evening. Good evening. Don't show.